What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of the Does It Doom podcast. My name is Steve Reese, and in this episode, I had the absolute honor of chatting with New Orleans metal pioneer Sammy Duet, guitarist of the legendary Acid Bath, Sludge icons Crowbar, and of course, his current project, the brutal extreme metal outfit, Goatwhore. We chat all about his gear, how his rig has evolved over the past 30 years, his guitar collection, his approach to songwriting, and he sets the record straight on some acid bath questions and rumors once and for all. This was a really cool interview, and I know you're all going to love it, so let's get to it. What's up, Sammy? Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be on the podcast today, man. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's certainly an honor. I've been a fan for a very long time, and just super excited to chat today. You and I actually first got in touch on YouTube in the comments section of one of my videos and kind of talked a little bit about maybe talking some acid bath stuff. And, you know, the way YouTube works, I wasn't able to actually get in touch with you from that, but...
Yeah, it's strange how you can't really contact people on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I think they did have a messenger, but they got rid of it.
Yeah, that's so weird, man.
But now, mid-February, you showed up on Instagram at Sammy Pierre Duet, and were able to get in touch. What made you jump on that platform?
Well, I got really bored. We're kind of on break right now with Goatwhore.
Yeah.
And we're writing new stuff and all that stuff, and we're pretty much planning on taking like the next couple of months off. And I'm just sitting around my house playing my guitars and stuff, and I forgot who it was. I think it was Victorious Weapons.
Uh-huh.
That guy Kyle from Vitriol.
Right.
Vitriol. He's always posting cool ass pictures of his guitars. So I was like, man, I got some pretty fucking cool guitars too. I'm just gonna start on Instagram and start posting pictures of my stuff. So I basically started my Instagram just to show off my guitar collection.
And I think you've got a big guitar collection, right? Is that what
yes, I do. I'm being real lazy with it, but I don't want to like do a guitar of the week thing, because then in like 4 months I'll have to go out and buy a new guitar, and it's never good, you know?
Yeah, I know the feeling, man.
So I'm kind of like spreading it out, each one. Like I'm going to try to do one whenever I just feel like it. I don't really have a plan.
Yeah. I don't think I've just been enjoying actually reading through your comment sections. You've posted that old Randall amp that you used in Acid Bath, and then in the early days of Goatwhore, and kind of teasing that you might sell it. And that got me all fired up, and I'm sure a bunch of other people. But like talking through that stuff, as we got ready for this, I had a lot of people, and I reached out and asked what people wanted to ask you. And overwhelmingly, everybody kind of wants to know, what was his rig back in the Acid Bath days? Can he talk about that? So I don't know if you'd be willing to go into any detail about what kind of rig you had in those days, what you were using, and...
Yeah, I mean, I could try my best from my memories.
Sure.
Well, all right, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
All right, I had that Randall amp. That was like from the get-go. Like you can see, and like if you look up old YouTube videos like Acid Bath before we got signed, there's like old videos of us playing around in New Orleans and stuff, and that amp is like in every video. So that amp has been like the one since like the get-go.
Right. And it's a Randall RG100 ES, right?
Yeah, yes. It's exactly like the one. Actually, it's a 1983 one, because right. the one that Dime used to use I think he had like the rack mount one, and then he had one that had like the gray carpet stuff on it.
Yep.
This is one of the ones before that. This is like a real, this is like the George Lynch one.
Right.
Because like I don't know how old you are, but like they used to have back in the day, like in Guitar World magazine, if any of these kids know what a magazine is. I'm going to be an asshole during this interview.
That's fine.
I'm going to bust everybody's balls, especially you youngsters out there. So Guitar World magazine had this ad with George Lynch with the Randall stuff, but there's like a leather colored one. And I found that amp in Houma, Louisiana, at a place called Fabulous Music, and they had two of them. and I kick myself in the ass every day for not buying both of them because they were pretty fucking cheap. Like the one that I got right now, I think I paid 70. It was $75 for each head. And there were two of them.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Exactly the same. But at the time, I was completely broke and I needed to buy a new amp. So $75 for a head sounded like a great deal to me, you know?
Hell yeah, man. I mean, I've owned a few of those actually through the years, just based on influence from that scene and whatever. But it was it's really cool to hear because I did not know that you used one in Acid Bath. You know, I knew Kirk used them in Crowbar and Jimmy used them in I Hate God, but I did not know you actually used them in that band.
Yeah, those heads are basically the sound of the New Orleans metal scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's if you want to get that sound, that's the head to get.
And they're becoming more expensive for sure and harder to find.
Well, there's certain. Well, let's keep going with that. Well, no, fuck it. You know what? We're just gonna keep going with this. The thing is that they made so many different revisions of that amp that the older ones sound better, and like the newer ones, there's ones like the one that I have with the black Tolex on it, and there's a one with the gray carpet stuff.
Yep.
But then the knobs have a white tip on the knob with a black marker.
Yep.
Those are amazing too. The ones with the gray tip with the white mark on them, those are complete garbage.
Okay.
Even though they all look almost identical, but like if you look at the knobs on the tips, they made them different colors and different ears or something like that. They changed them. But the white tip with the black control knob is the really good ones, and the ones like I forgot kind of knobs on there. I lost half of them.
Yeah, you got them all switched. That amp just looks fucking awesome. I can't imagine you would ever actually sell it. I think some of them, the metallic corners, right? They switched to plastic corners. They switched to carpet. I'm always looking at the just straight Tolex, the like metal corners and the knobs, as you're saying. So
those are the ones.
Now, did you use pedals at all?
Yes. In Acid Bath, I was running a Boss Metal Zone into the clean channel of that.
Right.
And that's what. Before that, I don't think I did some maybe recordings on the demos with the original rig that I had. It was this it was that head, and I was running it was a Rocktron Max preamp. And I was running that into the clean channel of that amp as well. And basically that thing they're really fucking hard to find nowadays. But that preamp was like a rack mount thing. It basically was like a rack mount metal zone.
Right.
Like it had the parametric mid sweep thing on it and everything. And I was using that. I think I used that in the first couple of demos. Then something happened, it broke down, or I just couldn't afford to get it repaired, or I just got sick of having to pay to get it repaired.
Right.
So some kind of way I came across a metal zone and just started using that to the clean channel of the Randall.
With distortion on, like actually using the boost and the distortion on the metal zone?
No, I was using the clean channel on the Randall.
But I mean on the metal zone, like where you...
On the metal zone, yes. I was using the gain all the way up.
I gotcha.
So I was basically using the metal zone as my main distortion.
I gotcha. And now... So, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
So what tunings were you guys using?
C standard the whole time. It was like C, F, A sharp, D sharp, G, and C.
Yep.
And then we dropped down for song Cassie Eats Cockroaches and Dr. Seuss's Dead. We dropped down to A, did like a drop thing with that. I think it was maybe an A flat, possibly. Something like that, but I don't remember.
A sharp, probably drop A sharp.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
That's really cool to hear. I think people are going to really dig hearing all of that information because for whatever reason, Acid Bath, I feel like has become this kind of like mythical band. You guys had a couple records, and I just think you've kind of grown to be this big thing in the underground, certainly in the sludge community and whatnot. But there's not a ton of information out there, I don't think.
Yeah, it's like, well, back then when we were together, nobody really cared about us.
Right.
Because it was really weird. Because like when we came out, we weren't heavy enough for the death metal people. but we were too heavy. We were too heavy for like the normal metal people.
Right.
And the doom scene at that time, I mean, it was in existence. I mean, Cathedral was around, Sleep was out at the same time. I God was doing stuff. There were, Buzz Oven. There were a bunch of doom bands, but it wasn't a big thing like it is now. You know.
Right. Yep.
So it was. That's why, I mean, I guess there's such a lack of information about the stuff that happened back there because nobody really cared.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair. There's a lot of people were asking about like a third album. Was there material for a third album? Like, did you have it? There's things that say you have a third album that was distributed a little bit, or you use the riffs in Goatwhore.
I'm gonna clarify this once and for all.
All right,
exclusive Does It Doom information.
I'll take it.
There was no actual like professional recording of stuff for the third album. Like everybody's saying that it was recorded and we didn't put it out because of the record company and blah 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 blah. That's all bullshit. Basically, what I have, and I believe I am the only person that owns this, is that we used to practice in this house where I used to live in Thibodaux, Louisiana. And at the time, Goatwhore and Acid Bath was rehearsing there. And we would just, come up with some ideas and record them. And they never really formed into songs per se.
Right.
But it's like just the beginnings of songs and just pieces that felt that they got put together and stuff. So I have like very rough like ghetto blaster recordings of those jam sessions, and it never really developed into entire songs. It's just just pieces and parts that
just bands though, or is it like vocals on top and everything? Or
no, there's no vocals. It was just me, Mike Sanchez, and Jimmy Kyle just like jamming parts and stuff to try and get ideas for the third album.
I got you. And
it escalated to where someone said there was a demo called Killer Rat Poison or something like that.
Right, yeah.
And basically what that came from was one of the songs where we got about halfway through almost an entire song written. And we just got tired of arguing about which one we were going to play. And there was like a little box in the corner that had some rat poison in it. It was like, just call it fucking Rat Poison.
Right.
So on one of the cassettes that has like just the jam sessions for that, I just have written on it Rat Poison.
I got you.
That was the
this
name
is like a working like.
It was a working title for like a song that was in the process of being written.
Right. Well, there it is. Once and for all. Clarify.
Exactly. There are no finished songs for the third album, but there were workings of things that were going to be processed into songs.
Right. And now, for the obvious question, and obviously there's been like talk of tribute shows over the years, and there was kind of, I don't think you were involved with that tribute that happened, but like, have there ever been real talks of a reunion with the surviving members of the band?
Nothing really taken seriously, just like kind of ideas, because Jimmy and Mike did like a couple of things here in New Orleans where they went jam with some dudes and played 4 Acid Bath songs or whatever.
Yeah.
And for my luck, the lucky guy that I am, I was always like, the first time they did it, I was in the studio recording a Goatwhore record. The second time they did it, I was on tour like in Australia with Goatwhore. So I never, it kind of sucks because I wanted to be involved with that. But, it was physically impossible for me to get there. There's such a shorter period of time when they were getting it together. But, after that, I was fucking bitching at them. And I was like, look, this fucking sucks that you guys get to do this shit and I don't get to do it,
Yeah.
And so they were talking about, well, why don't we, do something with a different singer and not really call it Acid Bath, call it a tribute to Acid Bath. And, and we kind of talked about it a little bit loosely here and there, but it's not something that we really pursued because we're just trying to brainstorm singers.
And that's just
And
assuming Dax just does not want to do it.
he's not into it, I mean, I love Dax to death. He's still, in my opinion, is the greatest singer that ever graced this fucking earth.
Yeah, he's incredible.
But he's just not. He's for some reason he's just not really interested in reliving the past.
Right.
So he has his reasons for doing
Sure.
that, and rightfully so. Whatever. But me and Jimmy and Mike had talked about some things a couple of times, and it never got really past talking. We got together and jammed like once, and it was pretty good. But but then we're brainstorming singers, and like, who the fuck we don't want to get somebody that's gonna be doing their own thing with Dax's shit.
Right.
We want somebody that's gonna sound like, it's like almost like when you heard like Ripper Owens with Judas Priest. When you could close your eyes and it's like, God damn, this dude sounds like fucking Rob Halford.
Right.
Trying to find somebody like that, and trying to find somebody like that is not easy.
Yeah, he's pretty unique in terms of his range, and his clean vocal abilities are I mean, incredible. I think people don't recognize how much you actually sang on that stuff, and so that's in reunion with a different singer or whatever. There's a lot of your vocals on there.
Yeah, I mean, I can still do that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you still do that stuff, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So at least on the Goatwhore stuff, I mean, I love that about Goatwhore. I feel like but Ben's got this huge range, and then your vocals are in there, and I mean, it's just a great mix. So then I guess I guess talking forward, I mean, I guess that says the piece. I mean, I guess that is what it is. I think it would be huge, if a reunion happened with that band. I mean, I think the band has become kind of legendary in the underground, in my opinion. It is to me. And so I guess moving on through as you kind of left that band, you were in Crowbar for a while, and obviously did the Goatwhore thing for a while. How have you like evolved through all those years?
I don't really think about it that much, to be honest with you. I just kind of go with what feels right,
Right.
And I don't really, plan that, I'm going to go ahead and do this next Goatwhore record is going to be completely atmospheric.
Right.
I just kind of go with what feels right at the time. I don't really plan an evolution or anything like that,
And I mean, the Goatwhore stuff really blends a lot of styles, more so than a lot of other bands I've ever heard, successfully at least. And is that something that's conscious, or like, are you like what genre would you put Goatwhore in?
Oh man, that's hard. That's a hard one. I don't even know. We just kind of call ourselves extreme metal, because I mean, we are very black metal influenced.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call us strictly black metal,
Right. Yeah.
And there's a lot of friends that I have that are totally into black metal, and they say the same thing. It's like, you guys aren't black metal. But then the death metal people say that we're too black metal to be death metal.
Yep.
Then the thrash metal kids say that we're too death metal to be thrash metal.
Yeah.
So I just kind of just go with extreme metal.
Yeah, it's awesome though. I mean, it's just it's melodic and heavy, and all the tempo changes, and just I don't know, it's really unique band. That and I guess people are wondering, I think the record was in 2017. Like, do you have a bunch of new material written? Are you
Yeah, we're taking a break right now, and we have a lot of material written, but we want to get as much material written as we possibly can, and just pick the best stuff from that and use that on the record. Because we have something, like I have like 17 songs written, like completed without vocals, of course.
Nice.
But just as far as the music goes, and at any moment in time, I could be like listening to it and go like, I'm going to change that part.
Right.
even though the song's been written for 6 months, So we're just kind of taking our time. We're going to try to put out the best record that we possibly can on this one.
And so are you
Because
guys blending ideas, or do you basically write the music?
I'll come up with a general idea of an instrumental version of the song, and then the other guys will throw their 2 cents in here and there, to where it'll be like, well, maybe that part doesn't sound good next to that part, swap them around. Maybe change a little bit of the part. It's essentially, it comes down to a collective situation.
Right. Yep.
But I'll just come up with the general, rock of the situation, and then all of a sudden they start carving at it.
Sure.
They chip away at it, and sometimes the rock gets destroyed, and sometimes the rock gets stuff added to it.
Sure. Yep. And what tunings are you using now in Goatwhore?
I'm in the same tuning I was in Acid Bath, the C standard.
Okay. And do you guys drop at all, or just C standard?
No, not yet. Not yet. No, I don't really see us doing it. It's too much of a pain in the ass, man.
Yeah. I've played in standard most of my life, and I do some lessons and stuff in drop tunings, but it's hard for me. It becomes hard when I'm trying to play leads and stuff.
Yeah. It's just that, like, if you watch any, like, Goatwhore, if you've ever been at a Goatwhore show or saw any of the Goatwhore shows, like, on YouTube or whatever, like, I never switch my guitar.
Right.
And because the ESP stuff is fantastic because it never goes out of tune. But I don't want to, if I don't have to switch a guitar in a set, then I'm fucking happy.
Yeah.
I don't want to switch to a different guitar and has a different tuning and switch back and all that bullshit,
Yeah.
I just like shit to be straightforward,
right. And that ESP guitar, you've been posting a few pictures on Instagram. What's up with that thing? You've worked with them for a long time. I've had a lot of people asking, are you guys ever going to do like a signature model that becomes like for sale to the public kind of thing, or?
Well, I've been with them. I think it's like 11 years now, something like that. 10 or 11 years.
Yeah.
And they were giving me some cool shit, and I've been working with them, but I always wanted something more extreme,
right?
And then I finally talked them into like making me a custom one like that.
Yeah.
And then I talked them into making a couple more. I don't know how I did that. But that last one they made for me, the one with the binding and the arch top.
Yeah, man, it looks awesome.
They made that motherfucker with love. Like that guitar, it's like, it's an extreme shape that Les Paul lovers would love.
Yeah, you can tell just looking at it. I mean, that's almost exactly what I thought. I mean, it looks like it would play and resonate like a Les Paul.
Yeah, because it's like the arch top on it is fucking thick as hell, and the thing weighs a ton because it's a big chunk of mahogany.
Yeah,
like it's almost like half an inch thicker than like my other normal guitars.
Did they put a maple cap on it?
No, it's all mahogany.
Oh wow.
It's like somebody turning the subs on your amp when you plug that guitar in.
Right.
It's just fucking low end. Like, it does not gent.
And you went for just a bridge pickup on it. Has that been your standard? Like, do you always stick with the bridge pickup?
No, the first one I got to put a single coil in the neck just out of curiosity.
Yep.
And I don't use them. I like when I get a guitar with a neck pickup, I screw it directly into the body.
Right.
So when I was getting this one made, I was just like, I'm just going to get a fucking humbucker in the bridge and screw it,
That's it, yeah.
Because I don't really use the neck pickup barely at all,
Right.
Especially like live, I don't use it never. Like in the studio, if I need to do some weird stuff, I'll use the neck pickup because the bridge pickup I use is just, you can't get a clean sound out of it.
Right.
But, that guitar is like just made for like live. But it sounds unbelievable, and it plays. It's probably one of the best playing guitars that I own.
That's very cool, man. I think, like I said, there's lots of people that saw it and are like, oh, are they going to do a signature that, for sale?
Well, I'll spill the beans, and I'll probably get in some trouble for this. But fuck it, might as well do it, right? What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. Do it.
Well, what is this company? I forget where they're like out of Seattle or something like that. They're called Chandro Guitars.
Right.
And this guy orders a lot of high end, like Jackson Customs. Like, every guitar that he gets in his shop is just like out of control, one off, badass shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was talking to him. Well, ESP had let me know that they needed my permission because he's actually getting a replica made of one of my guitars, one of my customs.
Right.
So he's getting that, but that's a custom shop.
I
So
gotcha.
he's probably going to be waiting a while for it.
Yeah.
And it's probably not going to be cheap.
Yep.
But we are possibly talking about doing an LTD version.
Right. I
But
think it's a cool idea.
yeah, but basically, essentially, it's up to ESP. It's not real. But I was talking to one of my guys at ESP a couple of last month, and we were having dinner, and he brought it up, and we went into pretty good detail for it. So you never know what might happen.
Yeah, well, hopeful, man. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll see. But I want the way I want to do it is I want to keep it to where it's a very, very high spec guitar, but I want to keep the price down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a fucking $1,500 LTD. I want to keep it if I can under $1,000, but still keep it like one that I would fucking play on stage. You know?
Right. Make it accessible.
Exactly. So I'm trying to work with them on. It's probably going to be extremely bare bones, but extremely high quality. You know, it's not going to be all fancy with the inlays and all that crap.
Right.
It'll probably just be stripped down, but it'll be basically all the specs on my guitars. You know.
Yeah. The important, like the core stuff for the sound, right?
Exactly. But the more I was thinking about it, when we were talking about it, it was like that would actually be pretty fucking sick. Just like a completely just black guitar with nothing. The only thing it's going to have on it is like the LTD logo. Right. So we're still talking about it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, very cool. I guess guitars aside, we talked about your acid bath gear. Like, how has your rig evolved? What are you using today? What do you have, a big pedal board, or what kind of amps are you using?
Oh, geez, yes. My rig from the acid bath days have definitely evolved. Let's put it that way. Right now, I am using. Let's start with the cabinets. I'm using the. I don't think they make these anymore, but it's the Randall XL cabinets.
Right.
And they have the Celestion Vintage 30s in them. So I have 4 of those, and I wrote them into 2 Randall VMAX heads. Mm-hmm. It's like the version 1. They made a V2, but those things were awful. So I use the V1 heads, which they're hard to find, but those heads are amazing. They basically sound like a JCM 800, but they're like with fucking a massive amount of low end.
Are they tube?
They're tube. They have a 3-channel thing on it where they have a tube channel, and the solid state channel is a distortion, 1 distortion and 1 clean.
Oh, cool.
And I use the tube distorted channel. And yeah, those heads, they're indestructible too. I've been using the same 2. I actually bought one from Randall, like, Jesus Christ, in like 1996 or something.
Wow. So that thing's been.
Yeah, and it still works. It's still the one that I use.
Wow.
But luckily, due to Reverb and eBay, I've come across a couple of them that, for a pretty good price. So whenever I see them for like $300 or something, I'll pick one up.
Just snag them.
Yeah. So I'm using that. And currently I am using the Dunlop Mini Wah. And then I go, all right, shit. I skipped over something. I'm using one of those Shure GLX 16, like pedal tuner wireless things.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm talking about? To where it's like a pedal, but it's a wireless, but it has a tuner built into it.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, they're fantastic because I used to use a big rack mount tuner thing, and I just got this on a whim because I found it like used for pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we were flying to like Colombia or something to do a show, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna buy this motherfucker and knock out fucking 2 things at once because it's a wireless and a tuner.
Yeah.
And it worked so well that I just That's all I use
That's
now.
awesome.
So I got that going into a Dunlop Mini Wah. Then from that, it goes into an Aries Effects Savage Drive. And then, fuck, I think that's it for like the front end of the amp.
Right.
And through the effects loop, I run a Fortin Mini Zool noise gate with right now I'm using a Electro Harmonics Oceans 11 reverb and a Boss DD6 digital delay pedal. That's
Nice.
all like in the effects loop.
Yeah.
It's not that much stuff, you know.
No, not considering, but
yeah, it used to be real bad at one point, but then I was like, man, I step on that shit like every once in a while.
Yeah.
I kind of broke it down to just shit that's like necessary.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool to kind of hear that. I want to talk a little bit about your actual playing, you know, because I'm always curious, you know, from your riff writing and lead writing and everything. Are you like a music theory guy? Have you studied theory? Are you playing all by ear? You know, do you run scales and whatnot?
I have no idea of music theory. I'm trying to learn that right now because I figured, you know, I might as well start trying to learn it. But I've never, you know, when I started playing guitar, when I was first taking lessons when I was a kid, you know, the guitar teacher that I had was really fucking amazing.
Right.
You might know him. You might be familiar with him. His name is Carl Dufresne. He was playing bass in Anders Osborne's band for a while.
Okay.
So this is how much of an amazing guitar player he is. He quit playing guitar because he learned everything on guitar and got bored with it. So he started playing bass and started learning that.
Right.
Like he's one of those guys. Like he went to college for all that stuff. But anyway, he was teaching me how to play guitar. And when I go to the guitar lessons, all I wanted to do was like learn Dio riffs.
Yeah, of course.
So I never really learned the fundamentals of my fucking, which I should have been working on when I was a kid. Like I learned the first three chords, like the E, A, and G.
Yeah.
And that's about all that I really know. I mean, I know a couple of scales in here, but I mainly go by what sounds good, you know?
Right. And so when you're writing leads, you're just writing, you know, by ear?
I just kind of loop the part I'm going to solo over, and I just find the first note that I think sounds good and just kind of build it from there.
Right.
You know? And
do you tend to relearn your leads for like playing live? Are you playing them note for note?
I try to play them note for note every time. You know, it's when I track them in the studio, there's a lot of like kind of improvisational stuff going on.
Sure.
Because, you know, I'll track the solo like fucking 15 times and we'll go back and listen to it and listen to the best parts and kind of take the best sections of it and piece together a solo from there and then play the whole thing on the record.
Yep.
But I try to nail everything I possibly can live.
Right.
You know? I can't stand when these motherfuckers try to make an excuse for themselves that they can't play the thing twice live. You know, it's fucking, to me, that's a sorry excuse for being a musician. You know, if you can't play the shit twice, then you just can't play. That's my attitude. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I like improv too. You know, it's just it just depends with the song and like kind of, you know, I think you can tell when a solo like needs to be played note for note versus.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to think about, you know, some kid that's really into your playing, that's listened to the record a million times, and he comes to the show expecting you to nail the solo, and you're playing something completely different.
Yeah,
it's heartbreaking for the kid.
Yeah,
you know?
It's true.
But yeah, I try to stick to play to everything exactly like I played it on the record.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Your leads are awesome. I just like I said in Goatwhore, you guys just it's different, you know, but I think it works, and it's really cool. I want to know, you talked early on about your guitar collection, and you've posted some pictures on Instagram a bit here and there, and I'm curious that, you know, what are some of your favorite pieces that you have right now?
Oh
that you
man,
think people would think would be pretty cool?
I've got a couple of things like that. Right now, I'll just talk about the two that really come offhand, that come to mind.
Yeah.
It's like early last year, I'd been looking. I had been looking. I found it earlier this year. I've been looking for this guitar since I was a kid. It was a Jackson 1984 Randy Rhodes, but those old ones are really hard to find with a Floyd Rose on them
Yeah.
because you know they're either string through or they had those fucking infernal fucking gadgets called a Kaler tremolo.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so you can find those like everywhere basically if you really look. But I finally found one last year with a fucking Floyd Rose on it.
Yeah.
That it wasn't cheap, but it was black with all the gold hardware on it. Like it was exactly what I was looking for. I was lucky enough to come across it, which is crazy. It was in a guitar store in New Orleans.
Oh, nice.
So
you got to actually try it.
Yeah, because I walked into a place called Inlow Guitars, and this store is insane, dude. Like Peppa Keenan just bought. I don't know if you're familiar with Billy Gibbons' Lil Red SG.
Yeah.
Pepper just bought that motherfucker from that store.
It
was some fucking ridiculous amount of money too.
Yeah, I've seen you on YouTube actually, like playing guitars in that store or something like.
Yeah, the store is fucking insane, dude. It's like they don't have a lot of stuff in there, but the shit they have in there is all like will just blow your mind.
Just killer. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Those stores are hard to come by these days.
Yeah, they are. But I found that guitar in there. Then I have another thing. It's probably my most prized possession that I own. Like this is like if the house was burning down, I'm grabbing this first. It's I think it's a 1983 or 1984 Gibson Carina V reissue of like the 58 Carinas.
Nice.
But this one has a very, very, very long story to it if you have time.
I have time. We've got time.
Okay, I was playing with Crowbar at the time, okay?
Yeah.
And we were on tour with Black Label Society before Black Label Society got really big.
Mm-hmm.
So we would hang out with Zach every day and just shoot the shit and just talk about guitars and everything. So he was endorsed by Gibson, and at the time they were putting out those Gothic series Gibsons, those all black ones.
Yeah, absolutely. The matte black, like all black hardware.
Yeah. And I was like, man, if you could get me one of those fucking V's, I'll give you like fucking $500. I know you get them for free. It's not it's not the big deal. I mean, I'll give you some money if you get me one.
Yeah.
And he's like the whole tour. He's like, I'll call him tomorrow. Yeah, I'll call him tomorrow. I'll call him tomorrow. Yeah, I'll call him tomorrow. So end of the tour comes around. We're in like California, and I was like, well, I guess he didn't have the chance to call him or whatever, All right, fuck it, whatever. I'll get one some other kind of way.
Yeah.
So we're hanging out, and I go in the bus, in a Crowbar bus, and my guitar tech's in there, and he's like in the back lounge, and I see a case sitting on the back seat of the back lounge, and he just looks at me, he goes, dude, you don't want to go back there. And I'm like, dude, he fucking got one. Fucking hey. So I go in the back lounge and I open the case up, and it was that fucking 1980, that fucking Carina V reissue.
No
and I'm
shit.
like, holy fucking shit, dude. This isn't what I wanted, but I'll take this motherfucker.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was like, holy fuck. And I was like, Zach, are you sure you want to give me this guitar? This is a pretty fucking expensive, rare fucking guitar, man.
Yeah, no shit.
And he goes, no, you take it. And if you don't fucking play it, I'll beat your ass. I was like, all right, I'll take it.
That's awesome. And you still, that's really cool. And you still got it to this day.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, that's, like I said, if the house is on fire, that's the first thing that gets grabbed.
That's awesome. You got to post some pics of that one.
Yeah, that's definitely coming up in the near future for sure.
That's awesome, man. Well, I think, I guess I'm curious if you can just let people know before we wrap up here, where people can find out more about what you got going on and what you're doing.
You could go to my Instagram, at Sammy Duet. Uh, the Goatwhore stuff, it's being updated on a slow basis because we're just not really doing much right now. So you can either go to like the Goatwhore Facebook or the Goatwhore Instagram to see what's going on.
I think it's at Goatwhore NOLA.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And that one is, you guys updated a lot in general. Like in general, I find it gets updated a lot. So that's cool.
Yeah, like every week or couple of days they try to post something. So
yeah, man. Well, that's really cool. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast tonight. All the stories you shared and all the information, man. It's super fucking cool to hear all that stuff. And again, yeah. So thanks so much for being on.
No, man. Thank you for having me, Steve.
Right on, man. We'll chat again.
All right, brother.
All right, Sammy. See ya.
Late.
Once again, you have been listening to the Does It Doom podcast. My name is Steve Reese. Definitely go follow Sammy on Instagram at Sammy Pierre Duet. He's been posting cool pics, answering questions, engaging with fans, and just being super fucking cool all around. And of course, also follow his band Goatwhore at Goatwhore NOLA on Instagram and Facebook. I'll have links to all of this down in the description. I want to send out a big thank you to everyone who supports this channel over on Patreon, with a very special thanks to our Riff Lord tier producers. So until next time, always remember, Tony Iommi is your friend.